Welcome to a video walkthrough of Biology 1408 and 1409 for Canvas. First of all, you'll need to log in at canvas.tccd.edu. It's going to ask you for your login information, which should be your first name dot last name, maybe some numbers, at tccd.edu. Your password? That's on you. I don't know your password. Sorry. And they change the rules periodically as to how many letters it has to be, and numbers and capitals and specials and all that. I'm sorry, use your password. If you do need any help, do contact the TCC help desk. And I can't actually help you on that one. You'll have to contact the help desk for your password. But you should be able to go there and log in and get to Canvas. Once you log in, you should see, well, honestly, I'm not entirely sure exactly what you do see. I don't have a student account, and the student view for instructors thing didn't work exactly precisely right on the home pages here. But there's a little circle with your profile. The second thing is actually a dashboard, and that should take you to your list of classes. Yours won't say publish all over it, but you might have several different classes, and you're looking for one that's labeled Biology 1408 or Biology 1409. When you click on the class, it'll take you other places. From here, everybody's course is going to look a little different. Every instructor's course is going to look a little different. It should pop up with some home page and give you some idea of where to go. Specifically for my Biology 1408 and 1409, on the home course, it does have a couple of links on the top section. I've got a table set up, and the upper left-hand side does have the syllabus, orientation, and how to study files. We'll go over that later, honestly. I've found that it really helps to show people what's going on in the course, and then we'll come back to that syllabus, talk about that orientation and the how to studies file. So give it a minute, we'll be back there shortly. The box on the upper right-hand side was labeled announcements, or you could have clicked the announcements on the left-hand side of the page. Either way, it does get you to some of the announcements where I'll tell you about the course and things like that. They're programmed in a little weird, but when we get to the lecture exam number 4, we'll have an announcement about that. When we get to the course evaluation, we'll have an announcement about that. You probably already have a welcome announcement in your course. When we get to lesson 2, I'll have an announcement for that. There'll be all sorts of announcements. Again, you can get to it from the home page, upper right-hand side, or you can get to it from any page just clicking announcements on the left-hand side, and that'll take you to all of them. I think as an added bonus, it's got the last announcement posted to be predominantly on the screen somewhere. You'll see announcements in all sorts of places. The second box on the left-hand side takes you to the lecture lessons. Not all of them are available just yet. Really, I've just got the stuff for lecture exam number 1 up and running right now, just so you can't get too far ahead and can't get too confused. But if you click on the link that says lecture exam number 1, module lessons 1, 2, and 3, or you click on the picture of the center of the sunflower, that'll take you to the lecture lessons. Or if you click modules on the left-hand side, it'll take you to the same place. The modules will take you to, all the files that you need to know for each of the lessons. Turns out that lecture exam number 1 does have lessons 1, 2, and 3 on it. So lesson 1 is going to be, well, it depends on what class you're in. If you're in Biology 1408, it's going to be an introductory chapter. If you're in Biology 1409, it's going to be the circulatory system. So it kind of depends on exactly which class you're in as to what picture you've got. That's nice. Deal with it. The lecture lessons may be all available, but odds are probably only lecture exam number 1, module number 1 is actually going to be available, because inevitably somebody manages to get started on lesson 12 when they should be working on lesson 1, and then they're all upset because they missed this stuff for lesson 1 when they were working on 12 of all. I don't know why, but sometimes I close them down so you can't see all of them. If you're taking this course in the summer, I've probably left it all open because summer goes so fast. If you want to work ahead, you should probably work ahead. But there are going to be a whole bunch of different parts to each of the lessons, no matter which lesson you're actually on. There are some fill in the blank notes. If you click the fill in the blank notes, you'll go somewhere else. So Canvas will take you to the screen, which will either have fill in the blank notes for Lesson 1, Scientific Study of Life, or the fill in the blank notes for Lesson 1, Circulatory System, depending on whether you're looking at Biology 1408 or 1409. You will want to read through, it does say I recommend that you print these out, keep them handy while you read the lecture notes. You'll want to study these for the lecture exam, but they aren't for a grade and you never have to turn them in. There is an attachment if you'll click on the Word document. I forget if it pops up automatically or if it just pops up in a preview window. Hopefully it pops up and downloads it for you. So if you click the link, some of them pop up as a downloadable document, some of them pop up in Canvas and you can read all about it or download it from there. Either way, it should pop up with some fill-in-the-blank notes. The fill-in-the-blank notes are not for a grade. I don't need you to turn these in. These are just for you to study from. So we've got like chapter 1 up here, which is the scientific study of life, and it does talk about how biology is the study of... Wait a minute, what is biology the study of? Biology is the study of life. Oh my God, how was I supposed to know that? Hang on, there'll be the next slide in Canvas, push the next button, and it'll get to the lecture notes that you'll use to fill in the blank notes. But these are not for a grade. I don't need them. Sometimes people will get a little overly active and they'll turn in the lecture notes. That's fine. I don't need them. You should keep them. You should study for them for the lecture exams. Now, I know, you've probably heard it before. You go into your class and one of your instructors says, "Oh, study the lecture notes. The test is over. Everything we went over on campus." And yeah, I've heard from the students who have studied everything that that the professor talked about, but they went in and they went on the exam and there was nothing about their fishing trip or their kids or their dog or... Yeah, sorry. My exams do come from my lecture notes. If you can't find an answer on the lecture notes, let me know. If I can find it, well, I'm just going to point it out to you. But sometimes it's not on a lecture question is not on the lecture notes, and that's not fair. If I've got a question that I can't find in the lecture notes on an exam, that's 2 points for everybody. Doesn't happen too often, but every now and then when I'm looking over the course and rearranging things, I might take something off and forget to remove one of the questions. That's not fair. If you can't find an answer in the lecture notes from the exam, let me know. Like I said, if I can find it, well, you're on your own. You lost the 2 points. I'm sorry. But if I can't find it, then it's 2 points for everybody. Now, when you do start looking over these notes, do keep in mind that some of them are going to have multiple parts and pieces to them. I'm not seeing any on this page, but one of the next few pieces of notes will have some of the organs on it, and an organ is going to be several tissues that get together, and you should put an example down. Well, that's actually 2 parts to the definition. That's 2 parts, 2 questions I can make. I can ask you about several tissues get together is A, chemical, B, tissue, ain't tissue, C, organ, D, organ system, E, organism. That was organ. Or I could ask you for an example of an organ, like the stomach, liver, and intestines, that sort of thing. So watch out on the questions. If there's a definition and some examples, that's probably 2 questions. Sometimes there might be 3 or 4 parts to the question, in which case that's 3 or 4 questions. So be sure to know everything on the notes for the test. But how do I know which words go in those blanks? Well, from that fill in the blanks, or plus, yeah, from the fill in the blanks section, go to the next item, which was probably lesson 1 circulatory system. Go to the next one after that. Would be lecture notes for the circulatory system, or for the lesson 1 study of life in 1408, fine, whichever. So on the lecture notes page, there's an explanation for the terms in the fill in the blank notes. You're welcome to print these off or just read them online. But if you'll click the attachment, LNO, whatever number, whatever name, .docx, that'll pop up with the actual lecture notes. Or if you'd prefer, there's also generally a lecture video where I have actually done a lecture and highlighted what I'm talking about on the PowerPoint. And if you'd prefer to more listen to the lecture notes, that's fine. We've got the YouTube videos there. It's the same thing as the read all about it. It's just I've talked about it. Same difference. Either one, whichever one you prefer. The lecture notes for Biology 1408 do start with Chapter 1, Scientific Study of Life. It's got a little bit of an introduction where I talk up briefly about the course and what to cut out, and what to teach, and flashcards. And on page 2, it has some, let's get started with some Biology 1408 notes. And there are 7 characteristics that all life has. First of all, biology is the study of life. No, I'm not going to read these to you. I'm sorry. We will be studying biology, and it is the study of life, but these notes, the lecture notes, do fill in those blanks. Remember, biology was the study of blank? Oh, hey, look, it's biology's the study of life. How nice. And then the notes did say something about all life has number 1, order. All life has a blank organization. Oh, look, it says all life has a complex organization. You'll use these lecture notes to fill in the blank notes. The lecture notes do have some pictures a lot of times, the pictures I would be using in lecture, that sort of thing. It's got all sorts of nifty neato cool stuff. It's got an explanation for those fill in the blank notes. Basically, the fill-in-the-blank notes are fair game on the lecture exam. The same information is on these lecture notes, but you'll probably want to study the fill-in-the-blank notes. If you have any questions about what the fill-in-the-blank notes mean, check the lecture notes. It's got more explanation on it. But if you're just looking for something to make your index cards out of, use the fill-in-the-blank notes. Fill-in-the-blank notes, and be sure to study all the parts of the questions. After the lecture notes is generally some sort of homework assignment. For example, homework 01, study of life, crossword puzzle. What you'll do is click the link and, well, then we'll go see an assignment here. So lesson 1's homework assignment is a crossword puzzle. Basically, what you do is you'll print out the crossword puzzle, fill it in, and turn it in. If you look where the bottom purple arrow is pointing, there is an attachment. There is a PDF file. You can print that out and just fill it in with may I recommend a pencil just in case? Yeah, pen's awfully fun sometimes, but pencil would be good. I don't care if you fill it out in pen or pencil. Highlighter's really hard to read, and blood is not going to be good. So pen or pencil. And then you can turn it in. You can turn it in the classroom. That is not a problem. Or when you're done with the crossword puzzle, if you'll click the up where the upper purple arrow is pointing, click Start Assignment. There's a spot there. Basically, you can print out the crossword puzzle, fill it in, turn it in. You can submit a PDF off your cell phone, snap cell phone picture. You can put it into a document, docx, JPEG, BMP. You cannot leave it as an Apple iPhone HEIC file. I'm sorry. Canvas can't handle that one, so I can't handle that one. There you go. But cell phone pictures really work fairly well. If you don't have a printer, Do not panic. You can switch to text entry and just type your answers in if you need to. You can just write them down on a piece of notebook paper. That's fine. You do not have to draw out the whole crossword puzzle grid or anything. Don't do that. Just write the answers down. Another option is to download the PDF and take a screenshot, open it in Paint. There's a little app on most free app on most computers called Paint, and it'll actually you can just kind of type your answers in. If you go through the VDI program, the Virtual Desktop Interface, TCC also has Adobe Photoshop, which will type things in as well. Yeah, either way, you can submit it electronically, or you can bring it to class. You can write it on notebook paper. You can write it on a printed out piece of paper. Whatever you need to do. Other assignments will have the same sort of thing. Maybe it's not always a crossword puzzle. Chemistry, it's just going to be answer a couple of questions. You can answer it on notebook paper, snap a cell phone picture, and submit it on Canvas. You can write the answers on a piece of notebook paper, take a picture of that, submit it on Canvas, or bring either the printed out paper or the notebook paper to class. Either way, as long as they get the answers, no big deal. On the crossword puzzles, if you are doing the text entry, please number it appropriately. It is not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. It's like 1A for one across and one down and 4A. It's not 1, 2, 3. It's some weird numbers with the across and the downs. Please number it appropriately. Thank you. The next thing on the modules list is going to be some sort of in-class assignment. Usually, I will print these out and we will do these in class of all things. Yeah, you probably want to bring your fill in the blank notes for that one. But I'll print these out and I'll hand them out, and you can actually work in groups, and we'll do these in class. Kind of varies as to which one it is. Scientific method one is kind of complicated. Yeah, sorry about that. But some of the other ones are much easier. For the in-class assignments, we will usually start them in class. I try to leave enough time to work on them at least. Some of them you might have to take them home and finish them up, but we do generally start them in class. You actually can work in groups of 1 to 4. Yes, I know a group of 1 is working on it by yourself, and it's a kind of sucky group, but you can work on it by yourself, especially if you were absent, didn't have any friends to work with it. Oh well. But you can work in groups of up to 4 people, 2, 3, 4, I don't care. If you do work in groups of 4, just be sure to put everybody's name on it. The only thing I ask is don't submit 4 papers with 4 people's names on it. Submit 4 pages each with 1 name, or 1 paper with 4 names. So I'm only looking for 4 people and not 16. Oh, sorry, my problem. There's a spot for your section number, and then, like I said, the in-class assignments actually vary a little bit as to which one we're doing at any given time. We'll talk about this one because it's a little more complicated. We'll have to save some time to talk about it. But if you are absent, be sure to download the in-class assignment, print it out, or at least write your answers on some notebook paper and turn it in. Again, you can turn it in class, or you can turn it in on Canvas. Anyway, continuing back on in Canvas, underneath the in-class assignments, there's going to be a practice test. The practice test is just for practice. But if you'll click the link, when you click the title of the practice test, then you'll have to click the blue Take the Quiz button. Then you get to answer the questions. Be sure to click the Next button where the purple arrow is. And then just underneath that, eventually when you're done, submit the quiz. The practice tests are just for practice. They're very similar to the real questions on a real lecture exam, but they aren't for a grade. But they do let you see the type of questions I normally ask. So yeah, somewhere in the fill in the blank notes, you would find the answer to finding a new species of normal bacteria and what domain should it go. Normal bacteria would be bacteria of all things. Oh, sorry. Honestly, the practice test questions never change. The answers might get scrambled up, the questions might get scrambled up, but it's always going to be the same 10 questions. But it does show you a couple of example questions. The Canvas will actually automatically grade as much of this as it can. It can't always grade all of the questions. One of the other questions that's on there is to give an example of an organ system. And the notes, quite frankly, say you're just going to have to use your notes and mentally give yourself points for it. Oh my God, Miss Naples, but how do you know what grade I made? I don't. I don't keep track of these. I never see the practice tests. I don't see if you started it and made a 0 because you didn't answer any of them. I don't see it if you took it 100 times. I don't see it. So you'll have to mentally give yourself points for most of the fill in the blank questions. Check your notes. Now, when you're studying for these questions, you might also see how you could swap these questions out. For question 1 there, I could very easily change this to you find a new species of ancient bacteria that live in extreme conditions. Now what domain should it go in? That would be the archaea answer. Or you find a new species of eukaryotic organism. Yeah, that's probably the eukaryotic answer there. But it's really easy to change these questions, and it's a good way to study is to see how you could change these to make the other answers correct. We'll talk more about it in class and a couple of in-class assignments. For the lecture exams, well, honestly, it is too easy to cheat on online exams. I'm sorry. I have gone back to lecture exams that are only on campus. I've still got the little square there for the lecture exams. It will still have information on the exams, what to study for each lecture exam, that sort of thing. But you can no longer take exams online. It's going to be on campus only. They're not going to require a Scantron for the lecture exams. You just come in with a pen or pencil and circle the right answer and go on with life. It should work pretty easily. Back on the home page in Canvas with all the boxes, one of them down towards the bottom on the left-hand side is lab exam number 1. Module has lab safety. Exercise 1 is microscopes. 2 is chemistry. 3 is... I'm not reading through all of them. It's got all the lab exercises there. If you'll click on that, we'll talk about some of the lab stuff. When you click the lab exam number 1 module link, it does take you to a page that has all sorts of things in the lab exam number 1 module. It does start with a pre-lab for lab safety. When you click that, it says there's no pre-lab for lab safety. Just read the lab safety stuff. There's some post-lab quiz information. Hang on, we'll talk about that when we talk about the quizzes. Yeah, I know the next thing is a quiz for exercise 00 lab safety. But after that is the pre-lab for exercise 1 microscopes. And generally, the pre-labs are going to be due before the lab. Pre is a prefix that means before. So these are things that you would do before the lab. Go ahead, click on it, and we'll talk about it. With the pre-labs, again, you do them before we do the lab exercise in lab. You do have unlimited tries. You can use your book, notes, etc. Try not to use your friends too much. It's better if you get the knowledge for yourself, but if you get desperate, that's fine too. So this one is the pre-lab for exercise 1 microscopes. It's got a due date, even if that changes all the time. It's got points, it's got questions, it doesn't have a time limit. Allowed attempts, unlimited. You can try it over and over and over until you get your 5 out of 5 points. Hey, great. So there's some instructions. After reading exercise 1 and looking over the attached PowerPoint, do the pre-lab. Okay. You can use your books, notes, PowerPoints, internet, etc. to do the pre-lab assignments. There is a link to a YouTube video on all of these. That's probably really not going to help you so much on the pre-lab. That's pretty much the lab exercise. If you miss lab for any reason, be sure to click the link to whatever YouTube video and watch the lab exercise while following along in your book. There is an attachment with this one happens to be exercise 1, pre-lab microscopes. Hang on, I'll open that one in just a second, but that's probably going to be your best bet for finding some of the information. Yes, a few of the questions are just flat out of the book, but a lot of the questions are the important questions that are in the PowerPoint. This is the PowerPoint that I'll be going over in lab, so if you want to bring it to lab and take some notes on it, hey, that works too. But for right now, click the blue Take the Quiz button, and then we can start looking at the questions. So when you click the Take the Quiz button, technically it goes to another screen that repeats the directions, and you have to click another button that says Take the Quiz. But eventually it pops up with the stuff over here on the right-hand side where you've got one of these questions, and it says to identify this part of the microscope. It's got the little black arrow, and it's pointing to a particular spot on the microscope. How am I supposed to know what that structure is? Well, you can check the lab book, or you can check that exercise 1 pre-lab microscope's PowerPoint. If you'll open it in a new window, then you can kind of flip back and forth between the new windows. Scroll down a little bit. I am clearly on page 5 here, but it is showing a bunch of parts and pieces on the microscope, including this rotating nose piece over here. Hey, that looks the same. And look, there's a rotating, revolving nose piece on the other side. We'll click that button, and then eventually you hit next and submit, and you finish the quiz. You do have unlimited tries. You can use your book. You can use the PowerPoints. Use your notes. If you don't get it right the first time, take it again and again and again. Canvas will actually tell me if I look to see how many times you've tried it. It doesn't bother me how many times you've tried it. Well, I'm not sure. I think Canvas actually says you've got like 99 tries. If you need more than 100 tries, let me know. I'll reset it for you. It's not a problem. But most people can get it without too much trouble. So make sure you get your 5 out of 5 points. You'll also need to take a post-lab quiz. After we've done a lab exercise, there will be a quiz over it. You'll only have one try. No books, no notes, no neighbors, no internet, no nothing but whatever's contained in your little brain. So be sure to have studied before you click on the information. So you do need to do the quiz exercise 00 lab safety. It's got a due date. It's worth 5 points. There are 5 questions. There's a 10-minute time limit. You will have 10 minutes for the entire quiz. While you've got several days to take it, to start it. Once you hit take the quiz, the timer starts, and then you've only got 10 minutes to do the quiz. You will see the questions one at a time. The quizzes are all multiple choice or true/false, but no books, no notes, no friends, no checking the internet, nothing else, just whatever information you've got in your little brain. Be sure you have read over the lab safety handout and have watched the lab safety YouTube video, or have been to lab and actually done the lab exercise before attempting the quiz. But then you click take the quiz, answer the 5 questions, and submit the quiz at the end. No, I'm not going to show you any questions of those. Sorry. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Answer the questions like we're going to follow all of the stuff on the inside of the front cover of the lab book. On the bottom right-hand side is the lab exams. The lab exams are on campus only. We will talk more about them when we get closer. But you'll need a Scantron, you'll need a pencil, you'll need to have studied everything for lab exam number 1 and then studied everything for lab exam number 2. We go around the lab room. Yeah, more details later. There's really not a lot there if you click it, but yeah, I put the lab exam stuff there. Okay, so that's been a lot of how the course works. Now we'll go back and talk about that syllabus orientation and how to study thing. So if you go back to the home page, the upper left-hand small rectangle does have syllabus orientation and how to study files. We'll be talking about those finally. So once you click the link, there's the syllabus little page. It does have the instructor requirements, the syllabus, the course description, the required text, the missing exam policies, grade determination, lesson assignments, due dates, blah, 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 blah. It does have an attachment. That's where you actually click the link to get to the syllabus that we're fixing to start talking about. I am not reading through my syllabus for you, but it does have my name and contact information like my office hours. It does have the textbook information. There's not a textbook for lecture. You'll read through my lecture notes and use those to fill in the blank notes. There is, however, a lab book. You'll need a copy of the I don't know what it's called, General College Biology Lab Book by Sean Snaples and Rhonda Crotty. It's got a lot of pictures on it. It's the one where you link up to the lab exam #1 module. The syllabus does have how many points you're shooting for an A, how many points you're shooting for a B, how many points you're shooting for a C. It does have the dates that we're doing things. You can see there's dates that we're working on stuff. You can see that there are class topics. You can see there are due dates on there. There are even exam dates, usually highlighted in a faint pink. There's some lab information. You'll want to read through that. It goes over all sorts of things. But we've talked about most of where they are in Canvas, so it's not too bad of a deal. Another neat trick is Canvas does have a calendar. Yeah, Blackboard had a calendar too. People didn't realize where it was. But on the far left-hand side, there's your account information, there's a dashboard, there's courses, and then the fourth thing is going to be a calendar. If you'll click that fourth icon that looks suspiciously like a calendar, it will in fact pop up with a calendar. You can adjust the date. It will tell you everything that's due on any particular day. Actually, if you'll click the links, it'll take you to the assignment, which is really cool. If your instructor has programmed in all the due dates, I believe it works. I've programmed all the due dates in. I don't guarantee that every last TCC instructor has done that. Sorry, but it is an easy way to have an electronic calendar. I don't think you can add a dental appointment to it, but at least you've got a course calendar. There's also a syllabus link on the left-hand side. Well, not the far left-hand side with all the boxes with your account, the dashboard, and the courses, but kind of the middle left-hand side, the right-hand side of the left-hand side. Oh yeah. Well, underneath the home button, there is a syllabus button. It will come up with all sorts of nifty neato cool things. I have copied and pasted most of my syllabus information with my name, and email, office number, required text, etc., grade determination, all sorts of nifty neato cool stuff. But if you scroll down a bit, there's a course summary section, and it actually lists what's due on each particular day, which assignments due on whatever class day it is, when homework 1 is due, when in class 1 is due, when the pre-labs are due, when the quizzes are due. It's got all the dates listed there. The syllabus, orientation, and how to study file. Back on the home page, that first smaller rectangle on the left-hand side also has an orientation file. Much of what I've been talking about is actually written, typed out in the orientation file, whether it's orientation to Biology 1408 or Biology 1409. There's a little welcome message. You'll want to click the link. It has all sorts of information to walk you through navigating the class. You can print it out or just read it. It has what you need to do for this course. On any given day, there are usually 2 or 4 assignments any given week. There are things due. There's a lecture homework assignment. There's in-class assignments. There's a pre-lab assignment, and there's a post-lab assignment. Be sure to click the file, download it, and at least read. Yeah, I know, it's a lot of information. I haven't covered it all here. I have not been reading from it, although I know what it says, so you'll notice a lot of similarities there. but it does go through how the course works. The next file is a How to Study for Biology 1408 or 1409. And students often ask me what's the best way to study for this class. I still say the best way to study for this class is whatever sinks the information into your brain. What works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. But there's a whole bunch of things to try. I still say the best thing to do, to start with at least, is probably going to be index cards. Sadly, most of my class focuses on knowledge and comprehension for the exams. Basically, memorize the fill-in-the-blank notes. Nope, it's not the greatest way to learn things, but memorize the fill-in-the-blank notes. You do have to memorize the information before you can even start to work with it. Yeah, well. But there's some recommended study techniques, and then it gets into some interesting stuff, Roman rooms and memorizing and mnemonics, and there's some other things out there besides index cards, but there's a whole several pages worth of things on how to study. There's even a link to a couple of videos if you're having any general study problems there. So there's some tips and techniques for general studies. If you've got questions, don't forget there is the orientation file that's in Canvas. Or if that doesn't work, you're welcome to email me at sean.snaples@tccd.edu, or you can call my office phone number, or you can come by my office. Not a problem. Most people email. If you do email, honestly, the easy thing to do is to go into Canvas and click the link, and then it just automatically pops up. It works great. If you are typing it in, be careful with the spelling. Sean.Staples doesn't work. Dean Staples is no relation. She'll probably forward me the email, but you know. Also, if you do Sean.Snaples@my.tccd, that doesn't work. Your email has a my in it, but my email does not. Anyway, as long as you type it in correctly, the questions come to me just fine.